In this video, we're going to take an extended look at Perfmatters, which is a performance optimization plugin for WordPress. Before we do that, I just want to quickly remind everyone what an extended look is as we get rolling with this channel, and it's kind of serves as a reminder for myself, just as well as the audience as we get things ramped up here. So extended looks, what are these? Extended looks are videos covering entities we have experience with. So it's solutions, resources, whatever the entity may be. We have extensive experience and can speak to the various aspects of it. No affiliation policy. Our videos do not contain affiliate links in the description. Nothing you see as part of this video will have anything to do with affiliation or affiliate links. No sponsorships. We are not paid to create videos like this. Okay. If you are interested in having a video like this created for your entity, then we offer a free partner membership for a lifetime. Just follow this link, influencewp.com/free, and see how you can get signed up. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Perfmatters website, and then we'll dive in and look at the plugin itself. Okay. Full disclosure, Perfmatters is we've been a paying customer of Perfmatters for, I think going all the way back to 2019. So we pay them. Again, we're not paid to do this. We are a happy paying customer of Perfmatters. Okay. What I really love, and if you spend any amount of time in WordPress Facebook groups, Twitter, X, wherever people are talking about WordPress plugins, one of the things you've likely come across is the mentions of how awesome the support is for Perfmatters. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on, first of all, so you can see up here in my address bar, perfmatters.io is where you can go to check this out. So when I buy products and help my clients get in touch with people to buy products, or I buy products on behalf of them or services or whatever, I buy from people a lot of times, which is part of the major driving force of InfluenceWP is relationships, and not at all being an affiliate, just good, solid relationships with companies is what's one of the main driving forces of InfluenceWP. It's one of the reasons why I reached out to Perfmatters. I've spoken to them many times in the past, but it's one of the reasons I reached out to see if they wanted to partner up. And they did, which is great. But going back to, again, the support that people talk about all the time in the WordPress space when it comes to Perfmatters is the brothers Brian and Brett Jackson. So one of the things that you'll also hear is a recurring theme with InfluenceWP is I don't like to say something is the best. Doesn't matter what the entity is. I just don't like to use those words because it's subjective, right? So what I like to say is no one is better. Someone might match somebody, but they're not better. They're top tier, right? In other words, okay. This is what I would place Perfmatters both as a solution, a performance optimization solution, as well as the support team, the brothers. Okay. So if you're a company that likes to buy from people, you cannot go wrong with Perfmatters here. Extremely fast response times, super personable, accommodating. They go above and beyond just your typical support. So if support is something that's really important to you, then this plugin should be strongly considered. Okay, this is one of those plugins that goes into the blueprints that we create as an agency. It's one of the very first plugins that goes in on a site that's not part of our blueprint. So we fire up a new site that's not part of a blueprint for a client or whatever, then this plugin is one of the very first ones that goes in. Okay, so it's kind of like we're creating that blueprint on the fly. All right, let's go ahead and we will talk about the pricing really quick. It's very underpriced for what it does. So it's super generous pricing, in my opinion. Okay, so I'll let you guys go here and check this out, but I just wanted to point out that it's how generous the pricing is for this. Okay, and they've got really good documentation. They got this performance checklist here that you can walk through. Here's the all of the great documentation, and as we'll see here when we look at the actual plugin, you'll see links to the documentation, which is absolutely amazing. Okay, looking over at, let's quickly go over to the InfluenceWP website. So if we go under deals, so you can go under directory and deals, or you can just go straight over to deals. I wanted to point out a deal that we have as part of our partnership. The Perfmatters deal is 30% off. And as part of what we do with the partnerships, when we get these deals in place, is that we ask for a guarantee that InfluenceWP will at least be equal to the best deal on the web. So one of the things we're trying to solve is a single source of truth for WordPress deals. So you can feel confident that when you go here to InfluenceWP's deals, you don't have to search any further for a better deal. Okay, so that's part of what we're doing here. Okay, I think that's enough about the Perfmatters website. You guys can go there and check that out. There's some good reviews here from reputable sources and whatnot. And Brian also has a really good newsletter you should check out. You can find Brian on Twitter X, and he often, I think just today, in fact, today's Friday, November 1st, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday that he posted on X about where to sign up for his newsletter. So I'd highly check that out if you're into performance and just technology in general. Look up Brian Jackson on Twitter and X. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this plugin. So I'm going to move some stuff out of the way. Here I've got my InfluenceWP sandbox site, clean, bare bones WordPress site that we will use going forward. So we're just going to go to plugins, add new. We're going to install a plugin just as you normally would. So this is the latest version of Perfmatters at the time of this recording. All right, so we have Perfmatters activated, and we're just going to go, we can click here under settings, but imagine if you had a number of plugins installed, then you can go under settings in the WordPress menu on the left-hand side there in the side panel and go get to Perfmatters that way. Now, this is not going to be a tutorial. I've done hour-long tutorials on Perfmatters before. Maybe we'll do a refreshed one here in the future, but this is just an extended look at the company itself and a high overview of what this thing offers, okay? So we're going to run through these screens together pretty quickly here, okay? So in this first tab here under the general tab, you've got a lot of things under the core WordPress that you can disable if you're not using them. So for example, if you're not using emojis, simply toggle this on, and that will disable emojis site-wide. You've got a question mark here, and if you click that, it takes you right to Perfmatters website and directly into the spot where they talk about this particular feature, which is really nice. Okay, so we're not gonna talk about all these things. I want to just highlight all of the various ways that you do things and the features. Okay, like going to the documentation links. Okay, so I'll let you guys work your way through down here and check all this stuff out. One more thing on this tab that I want to draw attention to that I like to do is I like to set a custom URL. So this could be anything you want it to be, something obscure, and this impacts the behind the scenes login. This does not impact your users on the front end. So this is a secure, in air quotes, custom login. So right now with WordPress, you have /WP admin, right? This will replace that WP-admin piece with whatever you put here, okay? Now, it's not just meant for security. There's the term security by obscurity, but what I like to do is use this in conjunction with a free Cloudflare account and then use their configuration rules to lock down this URL super tight, right? So that helps keep the bots and stuff as well off of your the URL. So Sure, maybe a hacker can come and find out what this custom URL is and try to get in and all that stuff. But as a general bot, they're not going to know what this custom login URL is most likely. So they can't keep continuing to hit that login, the default login URL for WordPress over and over and over again. Okay. And then on top of that, you can use something like Cloudflare, like I said, to harden that custom URL. Okay. So definitely something to think about there. But I do that on every site. I put a unique custom login URL in there. All right, let's jump over to JavaScript. This is more advanced, but if you're using WordPress, chances are you've got JavaScript on your website, and this just gives you various ways to optimize your JavaScript. Okay, there's also a minify option down here. Recently, if you're a Cloudflare user, they moved minification, or they're moving minification off. So Perfmatters brought this feature into their plugin in case you want to minify here as well. Most developers these days minify their code already, but this can capture the instances when the code is not minified by the developer already. Okay. All right. Moving on. CSS, similar to JavaScript. It's just if you want to optimize your JavaScript, so you can say, hey, you can go in here and say, hey, if CSS isn't used, let's get rid of it, or let's load it differently. And there's what Perfmatters does is really nice in a lot of cases is give you a lot of exclusion opportunities. So it's never like it's typically not an all or nothing scenario. There's lots of different ways you can exclude things. So here you can exclude style sheets, CSS selectors, things like that. And there's different. They always give you a bunch of different ways to go at things. Okay. Again, another minification option here. Let's go over to preloading. And another reason why I recommend you follow Brian's newsletter, for example, is he talks about a lot of this stuff a lot of times. So he'll touch on the changelog of Perfmatters, and he'll also talk about some things he's seeing in the industry that you should look at. So for example, why I thought of that to mention that was enable instant page. When this came out, it was a setting in Perfmatters. It was like, oh great, yeah, let's turn that on. And then, there were some things with Cloudflare going on with speculative loading and things like that. And then, you saw Brian recommend, hey, let's instead use a speculative loading plugin. And hey, not just that, but like here's the recommended setting for that and what he's using these days and what he recommends. And so at that point, we don't use instant page anymore if we're doing that. So that's one reason why I highly recommend his newsletter. Okay. You can do some things here like preload critical images. So if you've got some images towards the top of your page, like above the fold and whatnot, you can say, and you've got like a general consensus, like let's say it's very common for you to have a logo and another image, like a hero image, and you've got that on all of your pages or almost all of your pages, the majority. You could go in here and set, hey, I want to always preload my 2 critical images here. That's what that does. And then you could preload a host of other things here. Fonts, images, scripts, styles, all kinds of things. Okay. You can set a fetch priority. You can pre-connect stuff. You can do DNS prefetch. I'll let you guys look up all of those things there, but super awesome stuff there. Lazy loading. If you have an image optimization plugin, you'll just that does lazy loading. Most of them do these days. You'll just have to weigh that versus using what's built into Perfmatters. You just have to be careful with duplicating efforts and conflicts and all of that sort of thing. So like I said, if you have an image optimization plugin, maybe you want to stick with doing the lazy loading and stuff within there, since that's their specialty. It's not to say that Perfmatters isn't amazing at it, because they are. I'm just saying, maybe if you're doing all the image optimization, you do it in that one place. Totally up to you. But where this really, really comes into play is, what if you don't necessarily need a full-blown image optimization plugin, and you run a really tight ship as far as optimizing your images already by hand, you upload them, then you could turn to Perfmatters alone and do, lazy loading of images. Okay. And it does iframes and videos, YouTube preview thumbnails. Again, you got exclusions if you need to exclude some things, all kinds of stuff. Lazy load CSS backgrounds, all kinds of stuff. Add missing dimensions. You get the idea here. On my websites, for example, where I run a tight ship and I do all the image optimization myself, I just rely on Perfmatters to do this part of the job, and I don't need that separate image optimization plugin. Okay, fonts. If you use Google Fonts, you can just, with the toggle of a switch, load them locally. It's good for GDPR as well and performance, so it's not going out to the Google servers, loading those scripts in for those fonts. You can choose to do a display swap, load via a CDN. If you don't use Google Fonts at all, so for example, if you use system fonts like I like to use, you can just disable Google Fonts across the board and just prevent that from loading, period. Moving over to a CDN, I use Cloudflare for all of my sites and all of my client sites, so I don't get into this setting much, but you can get into this if you don't use Cloudflare. I don't know off the top of my head what this is compatible with. Here we go. A few popular CDNs we recommend include, so these are, they don't list Cloudflare here because, as you see here, if you're using Cloudflare, you don't need to do anything in Perfmatters, okay? So highly recommend Cloudflare. Analytics, if you are doing Google Analytics, you can, for performance, toggle on enable local analytics, drop your tracking code in here, choose where to place that tracking code. Oftentimes you can just put it in the footer. For years they suggested put it in the header, but you can test this and see, but oftentimes it works just fine in the footer. And then you can choose the script type you need. I like to always go minimal because I don't always look. If I'm using Google Analytics on a site, I don't need to look at all of the analytics that it gives you. It can be overwhelming. I just need the minimal stuff that it collects, right? And by doing that, that script is smaller. So that file is smaller to load on your website. All right. And then you can choose this other, if you want to track logged in admins or enable AMP support. Up to you on that. Code, this is where you can drop in whatever header, body, or custom footer code you need to drop in here. Maybe you have a different, you're running another analytics application simultaneously, and this, you could drop that in here. If you're a Termageddon user, for example, you would drop in your cookie pop-up code into here. Just lots of different scenarios where you can use this, and this eliminates the need for like one of those separate plugins where you just drop in header footer code. You know what I mean? So that's cool. Under tools, Script Manager. This is in my opinion, this is for those that are serious, hardcore, wanting to get under the hood and see what's really going on in your site. Script Manager is what that is. So toggle this on. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's pull up a page. And let's just do this simple page here. So let's click on Script Manager. And we don't have the only plugin on this site we're using, this test site, is Perfmatters, so you're not going to see a whole lot. But if you have a bunch of plugins installed, you're going to see all of their scripts. So their JavaScript, their CSS, that sort of thing. And you can get in here and on a per page basis, a per post, category, you can use regex. There's a lot of ways that you can target this. So you can say, hey, I don't need this JavaScript file to load anywhere on my website. Boom, it's gone off of your site there. You can say current URL, only on posts, only on pages, post and pages. You can do it on a logged in, logged out basis for users, devices, whether it's desktop or mobile. And then, like I said, you can use regex. So you could say my URL. So you could put this in there, and if your URL has that value in there, it'll apply that way. Really, really, really cool stuff. Okay, so that's Script Manager or in global view here. This is, like as it says, a global view of everything that you've set within Script Manager. So you have a quick view of what you've done. Under settings, you can get in here and do some other things. displayed its dependencies. Testing mode is really good for testing purposes, so the rest of the world doesn't see what you're doing. Must use mode is really awesome. So if you enable this, it's going to if there's some aspects of a plugin, for example, that that MU mode will unlock that and show that back here on the script manager screen. So in short, it kind of unlocks some things where possible. If you want to toggle this on, let's toggle that on and just see what happens. So toggle that, save changes, go back to script manager. All right, so it didn't unlock anything there, but I'm not surprised because all we have is Perfmatters going. Okay, but let's try display dependencies and see if that does anything. Yeah, so there we see the depends on right there. So we've got that little dependency. Okay, and then let's say for whatever reason you've gone along and maybe you were just kind of fiddle farting around with Perfmatters Script Manager and you screwed some things up and like you don't want to take the time to go back and see what you did. You can just click this Reset Script Manager box, say OK, and it puts you right back to where you were. Okay, so that's a really cool feature. That is Script Manager. That is where a ton of power is done. If you use products that are known to be resource intensive, loads tons of scripts unnecessarily, I'm not going to mention any names, this is a way to fix that. Okay, advanced options, this just unlocks some advanced features. So if you know what you're doing, you can toggle that on and it's going to unlock some more features within Perfmatters. What else do you want to say here? Clean uninstall if you want to ever remove Perfmatters. I don't know why you ever would because it's so amazing. You can toggle this on, and then when you go to uninstall the plugin, it's going to clean up after itself. As we did with Script Manager, if you ever just want to reset all of your default settings back on Perfmatters and start over, you can click this button right here. This purge meta options, these are the things that are going to appear on like your pages and posts. So if we go in and edit sample page, we see here there is the right here. So see on the right hand side, we've got this Perfmatters lazy loading. So that's where this is right here. Okay, so you can say let's clear all of those entries out for lazy loading. Okay, so then if you ever wanted to reset that stuff, that's what that does. Export settings, I use this a lot, especially for sites that have similar functions. So like a brochure site, you could come in here and just export your settings and import those into another site where you know those settings are going to be mostly, if not entirely, compatible, and it saves all that time. All right, and then you would just import that file right in here. Database, this is really cool. So what I typically do here, and this part of this depends on your hosting, but I like to toggle on all of these except for the tables because of the hosting. We use Kinsta hosting. So you don't want to do the table function because you have Kinsta hosting. They have newer database technology, and you just don't want to interfere with some of the things that they are doing. And it's not really needed anyway. So Kinsta has like self-fixing, cleaning tables, database tables. Okay, so just be careful there. Base that on your hosting. And if you click the link here, I'm sure Perfmatters is going to give you a great explanation about that. And then, as with anything that's important like this, like a backup or whatever, I like to run things on a schedule so you just don't have you set it and forget it. So I typically do a weekly with these settings, and then save my changes, and then you can do a scan now. So let's just go ahead and save our changes. Let's do scan now, and then that's going to tell us all of the things here that it's found. And I'm just going to say optimize now. And there we see that it cleaned everything out. Let's do a scan again. So everything has been cleaned out except for some more transients. Sometimes those transients just come right back right away, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, those are still in there. But anyway, so now we have this running on a weekly schedule. You can set it and forget it. Obviously, if you don't want to include some of this stuff, you can just toggle it off. Okay, license, self-explanatory. put in your license key for Perfmatters, and there you go. There's a support link here for documentation, for reaching out for support and whatever else, and some FAQs there. All right, guys, if you are experiencing issues with performance with your WordPress website, Perfmatters is it's the only performance plugin. I think speculative loading is another plugin we use currently, but Perfmatters is what we turn to first, right away. Nothing else. That's typically all we need. So every site's different. Every business is different. Every tech stack is different. But I would absolutely give Perfmatters a look. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one.